I'm going to tell a very different story this time. So, much like Rosie, I got into burlesque and all sorts of shenanigans through theater. I was doing a work-study job as I completed my degree in theater in Missoula, Montana in 2012, and that meant that when I graduated, they were like, oh, poor little student who has no money, you're not a student anymore, so now you just have no money. And my first month out of college, I was like, fuck, I need to pay rent. And I went and I got my first job as a stripper. I had done amateur night several times. I had been doing cabaret where I was basically doing burlesque, but I didn't know what burlesque was when I was 19, so it was just like theatrical nudity. And I had only been doing burlesque for like a few months. I'd done it like 2 or 3 times officially before I got a job at a strip club. And my last year at college, I just got so much shit for even getting naked on stage. It was a big bonus when we did hair and they needed lots of people to get naked. But otherwise, I would get pulled aside by grad students and professors and would be told I was boring and unfun, and that's why I didn't get booked for shows, but then would also be told, like, you know, you're wasting your talent getting naked on stage. And I was like, okay, well, why didn't you cast me in the part that required nudity on stage? Why did you cast an actress who specifically said that she didn't want to get naked on stage? Well, we needed to challenge her. You need to be challenged in different ways. And I'm like, okay, that's bullshit. 2 of those professors are dead now. Suck it! One of them's still out there. I'm gonna get him.
His days are numbered.
So I was like, and I even had someone in my burlesque troupe the first time that I presented an act tell me, it's a little strippery, don't you think? Is that really what we want to put on stage and have people think of us? Obviously, times have changed a lot. So I spent like the first 2 or 3 months of my strip club career thinking, okay, there's the Maggie off stage, and then there's Babs. That was my first stage name. I named myself after Barbara Gordon, Batgirl.
Oh, yeah!
Just going up at 22 years old, being like, hi, I'm Babs. And just knowing that every time I said that, guys would hear, hi, I'm Babs. So I was in this new world where I got to control everything that I did performance-wise, and I got to make more money than my peers, and I was working really, really hard and working a lot of days and nights. And I still wanted to do theater. I wanted to perform so badly, and I got offered a role in this series of short plays that were all done by local playwrights, because Missoula is like kind of a theatrical gold mine in the heart of the Rocky Mountains. And I was extra excited because not only did I feel validated as a performer, but I got to work with Justin Fatz. Justin Fatz was a local actor who was in so many things. He worked with Missoula Children's Theater / Missoula Community Theater. He was frequently looked at as someone who was very, very good. He was like middle-aged. I actually don't know how much older than me Justin is. I think he was probably in like his late 40s when I knew him. And even though no one ever talked about Justin's sexuality, because it's not like he was going out to the bars, you know, he was a little, just a little like this. Like, didn't talk too thibilant or anything, but just a little like this. And had that sort of manic energy that men of his generation who never knew what an ADHD diagnosis was, just always kind of have. So I was so excited to work with him because not only was he a brilliant actor, but he was an amazing comedian. He was a wonderful physical comedian. He was like tall and lanky and just like moved his limbs, and he like had a rubber face, and I was like, it's like my greatest dream in life is to be a clown. I cannot believe I get to do a comedic scene with Justin Fatz. And I was so excited, and even better, we didn't have to play humans. We were gonna play aliens who were trying desperately to figure out how to fuck, but couldn't figure it out because we were like inhabiting human bodies and we didn't know how they worked.
Wow.
This was also one of the first times that I got to work with someone who was openly queer. Justin was one of my first like queer elders. I'm standing up now because, like most ex-strippers, my knees hurt. So, I had only come out like my last semester of college. And so it was kind of nice to like work with someone where I could be like, yeah, you know, like being gay and being queer, right? And he'd be like, girl, I know. Even though we were decades apart. I learned so much from Justin about being honest on stage, being able to commit to the bit, the reasons why you learn your lines on time. That is one thing he never managed to do. He was very famous for forgetting his lines and was frequently cast in one-man plays because other actors would be like, God, I love working with him, but also I hate working with him. And while we were working on these plays, I went and did my 10 a.m. audition, and I got it. And the first person I told was my dad, and the second person I told was my best friend at the time, Brandy. And we had a cast party soon after that, and Justin was like, so how's the new job going with the nighttime hours? And I was like, oh, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. And he was like, yeah, you've had like a little extra spring in your step. So you gonna tell me what it is? And I was like, I got a job at a strip club. And he was like, oh girl, I knew it. Oh, you're gonna be so good at it. I mean, look at your tits, look at your face. You are so, just look at you. And I was like, thank you. I didn't think I was ever gonna be pretty enough to be a stripper, so thank you, Justin. And he's like, can I give you some advice? I had no advice. I had not, I had barely been working. I actually hadn't had my first shift yet. I think I mixed that up 2 sentences ago. So I'm like very nervous. I had gone online. I had been researching. This was still when you could go on Stripper Web. And also Tumblr. And I was like, what do you do your first night at the strip club? And so I had my list of, I was like, I'm gonna bring baby wipes, an extra body spray, not perfume, and at least 3 or 5 outfits, and several pairs of shoes, and all this stuff. And I was like, I think I'm ready, but I'm really nervous because I don't know how to talk to people. And Justin just goes, well, I don't tell a lot of people this, but back in the 80s when I lived in Portland, I was quite the hustler. And I'm like, Justin, you dog. Tell me everything, please. Let me take notes. He proceeds to tell me about how he used to dress up like a little cowboy, and Justin was built like an ex-twink. Like, this was a man who was very twinky in his 20s. And he used to dress up like a little cowboy and strip at a club in Portland. And he told me a little bit about, like, you know, he's like, you always want to have bills. And I was like, I always want to have bills. He's like, no, just when you're talking to men, just always casually bring up like, oh God, I'd love to, but I really have to pick up a shift that night because like I have my car payment. Oh yeah, my landlord just raised my rent. He's like, you always have bills. That's rule number 1.
I didn't know that.
You always
That's something I needed to know.
You always have bills. Yeah, and he was like, and you always have bills because you know why you always have bills? Because if you have dreams and a wish list, you get things. But if you have bills, you get money. And I was like, oh my God, I hadn't even thought of that. Justin, tell me more. And he's like, I will tell you more, little baby stripper. Now, he's like, now, I worked with men, obviously. You're gonna work with women. Women are different. When you go into that club, you are not the hottest person in there. Absolutely not. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. This is true, I don't. No, you aren't gonna put on any sort of shield. You were gonna go in there and you were gonna be everyone's baby sister. You were gonna go in and you were gonna be quiet and you were gonna be meek, and anytime anyone gives you advice, you were gonna take it. Even if you think it sounds dumb, because remember, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. And that is one of the greatest signs. He's like, if the girls start giving you advice, you've made it. They want you to succeed. They want you to be part of it. If they're leaving you alone and not talking to you, you have fucked up. I was like, okay. And I followed his advice, and I went to the club on my first day, and I just was very upfront. I was like, hello, it's my first day. I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. And I made friends because of Justin, like actual friends. And I managed to survive my first couple of days. And at the very beginning of my second day, the house mom came up to me with this one girl, Tigger, not to be confused with our local legend, and said, "Hey, Babs, you doing anything right now?" "Nope, I'm just waiting to go on stage." "Great, Tigger's gonna take you in the back and show you how to do a lap dance." Was there something wrong with my lap dances? No, you're just new is all. Just, Tigger will sort you out. And I could have walked in like with a bunch of bravado and been like, "Hello, I'm young. I'm younger than most of you in this club, and I'm gonna use that." And I didn't know what the fuck new girl energy was. I'd read a small little thing about it. But I went in open to learning, and I have used that advice in every new environment, every new stripping environment that I've gone into. Every new stripping environment that I've gone into, every new dressing room in burlesque, every other club that I worked at, every brothel I've gone into, every single sex work situation I've gone into thinking, I'm everyone's baby sister. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And that was because of Justin. Justin could have made fun of me. He could have brushed me aside. He could have slut-shamed me like a bunch of other people in the Missoula theater scene did, but he didn't. He gave me the tools that I needed in order to go into a new space that I was very excited about, but very terrified of. And I feel so lucky that was my first experience with someone telling me how to get ahead in the sex industry. I moved away from Missoula a year after I started stripping, and for a lot of reasons. I am terrible at keeping up with people. I have a lot of walls up. I have a tendency to think that people don't really want to be talking to me, so I'm like, well, if they're not reaching out, I won't reach out either, because they probably aren't thinking about me and I don't want to be weird. And so I didn't really reach out. And then one day I opened up Facebook, and there was this post on Justin's Facebook page from his mother and his sister saying that Justin had been admitted to the hospital with pneumonia, but after running some tests, they found out that he had AIDS.
Oh, no.
Not HIV, AIDS. No one knew how long he had it, but clearly it had been a while because it was not HIV anymore. He lived in Missoula for like 25 years. No one, as far as anyone knew, he was like pretty celibate, wasn't going out doing anything. He wasn't an intravenous drug user. Not that any of these things mean you should be punished. It was just like, how fucking long was he just walking around not knowing and completely asymptomatic? And this was in 2013. I had spent a good portion of college telling other people in my class, like, you guys really need to stop sucking angels in America's dick. I mean, that's like, the AIDS crisis is not something that our generation fully understands, and I feel like you guys are glorifying like this tragedy. And I feel like the theater gods came back and was like, you think you don't know what the fuck that is? Here you go, you get to experience it. And there was a link to a wish list of things, because they were going to move Justin out of the hospital back into his house. They were going to do a lot of care for him. And I got a Target gift card and a card, and I wrote him this long essay about how lucky I was to have met him and to worked with him and to have, like, high energy comedically made out with him on stage as aliens who didn't know how to fuck in human bodies, and how him just being open and wonderful meant a lot to me, and how he was really like my first sex worker elder. He was really my first queer elder. And I don't know if he read my card or not, because a few days later on Facebook, they said that he died. And I was crushed. I didn't know what to do, and I was like, Facebook makes it so easy to stay in contact with people. Like, I could have just told him something like this before I left, and I didn't. And I have to live with that, because he doesn't have to. Yesterday was World AIDS Day. For obvious reasons, I think about Justin a lot on World AIDS Day. And December is the holidays.
But December is also, there's World AIDS Day, and there's also December 17th, which is International Day to End Violence Against Sex Workers. And I think it's really important for allies to remember, or for people who have been involved in sex work or move up against it, including, I would say, burlesque audiences, that violence isn't just someone in a red truck driving around and killing outdoor sex workers. It's also systemic. Justin was a queer ex-sex worker living in a rural area with a lot of stigma attached to both of those identities. And we do have it really well here in New York, especially with our new socialist mayor, who's hopefully gonna fight against this administration that doesn't believe in science and doesn't believe in humanity and doesn't believe in a lot of things. A lot of things that could protect a lot of people and could protect the people who will be harmed most by a lack of access to healthcare and a lack of access to sex education. Once a year, I think of Justin really, really hard. And I go outside, or I look out a window somewhere where I can see the sky, because Montana's big sky country. And I always associate the song "I'll Be Seeing You" with him. I don't know why. I don't know if I heard him singing it backstage once, but whenever I think of that song, I think of him. And I just look at the sky, and I sing, and I don't worry about if it sounds good. I don't worry about like what it's gonna sound like to anyone who's on the other side of thin walls. I just sing it to Justin, and I think about committing to the bed. And I think about how lucky I was to have known him for the short time that I did.